In 2008, the global economy collapsed. Millions of ordinary people lost their jobs, their homes, their savings. The billionaires lost money too, billions of it. And then within 3 years, most of them had not just recovered, they were richer than before the crash. This is not luck, this is not corruption, at least not entirely. There are 3 structural reasons why extreme wealth compounds itself automatically. The same 3 reasons that explain why the gap between billionaires and everyone else does not just persist, it accelerates. And once you understand the mechanics, you will never look at wealth the same way again. Chapter 1. Their money works while they sleep. Here is the single most important financial fact most people are never taught. There are 2 types of income. The first type is earned income. You trade your time for money. You work an hour, you get paid for an hour. You stop working, the income stops. Every single person who has ever lived on a salary operates inside this system. The second type is capital income. Your assets generate returns regardless of whether you are working. Stocks paying dividends, real estate generating rent, businesses producing profit, intellectual property collecting royalties. The critical difference is this. Earned income has a ceiling. There are only 24 hours in a day. Capital income has no ceiling. Economist Thomas Piketty spent decades studying the returns on capital versus the returns on labor. His conclusion, published in his landmark research, was devastating in its simplicity. Capital returns consistently outpace wage growth, historically by a significant and widening margin. This means that anyone holding significant assets is mathematically guaranteed to pull further ahead of anyone relying on wages, not because they work harder, because the system they operate inside moves faster than the system everyone else is trapped in. While you sleep 8 hours, your capital does not. It compounds every single night. Chapter 2. Failure costs them almost nothing. Most people cannot afford to fail. One failed business, one bad investment, one medical emergency, and the financial floor disappears. For a billionaire, failure has an entirely different cost structure. Researcher Melissa Cardin at the University of Tennessee studied serial entrepreneurs, people who start companies, fail, and start again. Her finding was stark. The single strongest predictor of entrepreneurial success was not intelligence, not education, not even timing. It was the number of previous attempts. Experience with failure is the training ground for success, but here is the structural inequality hidden inside that finding. Most people only get 1 or 2 attempts at a significant business or investment because each failure is catastrophic. A billionaire can fail 20 times without approaching the threshold that would change their lifestyle. Jeff Bezos had the Fire Phone, a catastrophic product failure that lost hundreds of millions of dollars. He called it one of the most valuable things Amazon ever did because it cost him nothing he could not absorb. Elon Musk's first 3 SpaceX rocket launches failed. Any one of those failures would have ended most companies. For Musk, it was tuition. The ultra-wealthy operate with what economists call asymmetric risk. Their downside is limited. Their upside is unlimited. This is not a personality trait. It is a financial architecture that ordinary people simply do not have access to. When failure costs everything, people stop taking risks. When failure costs nothing significant, people keep swinging, and eventually someone who keeps swinging always connects. Chapter 3. The system compounds their advantages. The first 2 reasons explain how billionaires stay ahead financially. The third reason explains why the gap keeps growing even when they do nothing at all. It's called the Matthew effect, named after a passage in the Bible. To those who have, more will be given. Sociologist Robert Merton identified this pattern across science, academia, careers, and wealth. Early advantage creates access to more advantage, which creates more access, which creates more. A billionaire's name opens doors that do not exist for anyone else. They get access to private investment opportunities before they're offered to the public. They sit on boards that shape the companies they own stock in. They have direct access to politicians, central bankers, and regulators. Their lawyers are better. Their accountants are better. Their networks are impenetrable, and every layer of advantage generates the next layer automatically. Researcher Paul Oyer at Stanford found that the returns on elite professional networks compound over time in a way that creates self-reinforcing inequality. The longer the network has been built, the faster it grows. This is why billionaires don't just maintain their position, they accelerate. Not because they wake up every day plotting to stay on top, but because the system they built their wealth inside was designed, intentionally
or not, to keep funneling advantages toward people who already have them. So the next time you wonder why billionaires just keep winning, understand what you are looking at really. You are not watching harder workers. You are not watching smarter people. You are watching a different set of rules. Capital that compounds while they sleep, failure that teaches instead of destroys, and a system that adds to whatever they already have. The game is not rigged against you personally. It was just never designed with you in mind.